shall I say, death implies life. You can feel yourself, Satchidananda, in Sat, that which is Chit, that which is consciousness, that which is Ananda is bliss. And in other words, what exists, you fulfill. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. And finally, you dream way one. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multitude of choices you have, of training that you weren't allowed.
So I've got a different setup tonight. I've got a mic here in shot, and I've got a big diffuser in front of the light, and then I've got a reflector here. So I'm going to zoom in so you don't see the mic. Too much? Too jazzy? Never too much. Never too much. What was I going to talk about today? I should have clean audio, so I'm working with the Panasonic because it takes this Rode mic into an XLR unit for all new techies out there. But what I'm probably going to do is get a recorder, a separate audio recorder, and then run this mic then into the Fuji, because I like the image out of Fuji better. It's easier to work with. The Panasonic, sorry to talk about cameras, but the Panasonic got me to where I was, and then when I got the Fuji, I realised how beautiful the image was. And sometimes things are very subtle that you don't realise, you know. What was I going to talk about today? If I haven't said it already, I'm writing a book. It's my book. It's my life story so far. And the things I've experienced and the memories that I have. Just to have it, you know, just to have it on paper. It's down to Joe Hoey. Joe Hoey has me doing it. So I get up in the morning, I have my pint of water with cider vinegar, lime juice, a pinch of salt. Thanks, Tristan. And then I have a coffee, and then I write. And I write maybe 3 A4 pages every morning. And I'm doing a timeline from my earliest memory. At the moment, I'm still 12 or 13. I'm bouncing between those ages. And I've realised that nothing really substantial has happened to me until I was 15. And then the more I think about it, the memories that are popping up, I'm starting to wonder whether they actually happened or not, if you know what I mean. Because I'll think about something, and then something will come to mind, and then this imagery will come in my head of what happened. And I'm starting to doubt that. I'm starting to doubt any of that happened at all. It's an interesting one, because I've done a lot of hypnosis. I've done a lot of, as the therapy of being, hang on, I feel like I'm at a wedding here. I've done a lot of, well, not a lot. I've done past life regression. I've done visualization. I've always been visual. I'm a visual type of a person. Like, I'm an imaginative. I always daydream, and I've always daydreamed. So visualization to me is very natural. It's something I've always done. But I'm finding with the mind's eye looking back on the past, where stuff I haven't visited in a couple of decades, I can't differentiate between that and something that I'll visualize under hypnosis. This isn't making any sense. Like even the school I went to, I went to Drumna Castle School. The teachers were allowed to hit you in school. You were allowed to, I remember getting beat up on the first day. They hit me with a leather strap on the hand, did something wrong. I was always fast-witted, quiet kid, fast-witted. Someone would say something, I'd say something sharp and funny, crowd would laugh, teacher going nuts, and I'd get it in the neck. And I got leathered on the first day. It was a leather strap, about yay thick, this long, and a grown-ass man would whack you as hard as you could on your hands. So you just get 10 each and then try not show the pain and sit in your hands with the stinginess of it, And that was it. So what I was trying to figure out was what the mind actually is. And it got me to thinking a few things. One is, I studied Chinese medicine, and they have a very poetic version of what the mind is. They say it's called the Shen, and the Shen lives in the heart. So they have this thing where they have organs. So they've the Zhang and the Fu. The Zhang is the main organs: the liver, the kidney, the spleen, the heart. There's one other. Anyway, the heart has an anatomical function, which is it pumps blood around, but it also has a sphere of influence on other parts of the body. Like it has an associated dream, it has an associated colour, it has an associated fluid, it has an associated dream. Said that already. But also the mind lives in the heart. And it's like a bird in a cage, and it's real calm, and it's just chilling there. But if someone comes in and grabs the cage and shakes the cage, the bird flaps around. And this is why people get shock or a traumatic experience in their life, and they get rattled, and they think it's fluttered around. But eventually it comes back to being calm again. And they also say it's like you get a still pond and you throw a rock into the pond. You get these ripples that ripple out. But eventually the pond becomes still again. And I think a lot of people, when they get shook or when they get rattled, they think it's never going to calm, or they think it's never going to settle. And they keep revisiting the old memory of what made it rattle. And the old memory then continues to make it rattle, instead of just forgetting about the memory that, as it goes through time, becomes some other story that isn't actually what happened, and you're still rattling yourself over some made-up fiction, really, at the end of the day. It's a funny one. There's a guy called Rupert Sheldrake, and he believes the mind is a collective. It's your brain is an antenna that picks up a collective mind. Well, I don't believe that. I think there's too many stupid people out there that miss the nuances, that miss the subtleties. A lot of subtleties go on in life and people don't see them. They're just blind to them because of the noise. Like, I noticed since I've stopped, I deleted my Instagram and Facebook account, and since I've stopped that, I've got a bit more time to myself, instead of the critical view of fictional characters, or the applause of fictional characters, or it's theatre, isn't it? It's cinema, it's fictional It's caricature. It's a comic book. It's filtered. And I found it was starting to not serve me. And when that happens, it's time to kind of cut it loose. I feel better for it. And then you start to look around you and you realise, because you don't really see it because your head's in the phone all the time, but you realise how many people are just stuck into it and addicted to it and zero connection with it. It's just that kind of, and I found like myself, I was coming down to the gym and I'd get in the door and then I'd pull out the phone and next of all, I'm not training, and I was starting to win that battle. Or next of all, I didn't write my page in the book, or next of all, I didn't do something I was meant to do, or, it just demotivates me. So I'll dip into it again. But there's no one on it. There's not many people on it that I actually give a shit about. And they're the only concerns I have. It's just certain people I like to keep in touch with, but it's just one of those things, It starts to influence you. Influencers influence you. But I think with the mind, I think it's good to find out what that ceiling is. It's good to find out where the highest high is and the lowest low is, and then bounce back, and then reevaluate and see if you're right in the first place about how you see the world or how you see different people. I think my calmness comes from hitting the ceiling, but also hitting the bottom and scrambling and scraping my way back up again. And I think if you never push the envelope, if you never push into those sharp edges, you're never going to see how delicate your mind actually is. But how when you find out where the limit is of it, that you're able to not be controlled by it as such, not have it serve you rather than the other way around. And that brings me on to the influence. So what influences people? Or what changes your mind, or what? Generally, people are influenced by other people who have free advice to give you when you're not looking for advice. So, for instance, everyone has an opinion, right? They say it's like everyone's got an asshole. It's like assholes. Everyone's got one. Everyone's got an opinion. But I find anyway, that people will give me their advice without me asking for their advice, based on their experience in life. If you know what I mean. So if I want someone's advice on something, I'll generally ask them. But if I don't want someone's advice on a situation, I'm not going to ask them. And people will just rabbit on the same shit that everybody else says. And that might be not even their truth, but it's just that, how are you today? How's the weather? Conversation. Do you know what I mean? What time is it there? It's just beer talk, isn't it? So I find a lot of people, in order to keep a conversation going, will give you advice based on nothing. And they might catch you at the right time where you actually take the advice. The other influences is what we watch and what we read, who we hang around with, who we have encounters with. news, selling ads. That's the other thing about 24-hour news. You know, they kind of keep your attention with sensationalism in order to sell ads in between. Come back after the ads. Come back after the break. We have the rest of the story for you. We can tease you in. There's a thing called subliminal advertising. You might have noticed it throughout this video. And it's actually illegal. You can't do it. Because it has so much of an influence on the mind. It's just a little flash. One frame. Instead of like a McDonald's ad, they just show you a burger for one frame of that 24 frames in a beautiful Technicolor widescreen video. And you can be influenced that easily by one frame in 24 frames of 1 second. That it's illegal. So if you can be influenced by one frame, what can you be influenced by 24 hours of garbage on the TV? Or fucking dribble reality TV or dribble sitcom. Do you know what makes a sitcom? Or what the definition of a sitcom? Julian told me this one. It's one of his favourite stories. Is if a sitcom starts and finishes exactly the same spot. They start off broke. They make a load of money. They end up broke again. And so it begins. That's a sitcom. Always end up back at the start. They have this little adventure, but they always end up back at the start. They never progress. It's Groundhog Day every day. That's a sitcom. I've done a month of intermittent fasting every day. 16 hours fasting, 8 hours not fasting. And I have not much to report on it, to be honest. I think I have a little bit more clarity in the morning because I get these little windows of opportunity in the morning where like I'll get up, have my breakfast, have a coffee, and then I have 10 minutes of this kind of like window of opportunity where I'm kind of productive. I can come up with slogans and buzzwords and things. If you want to develop something, just ask me at like between this time and that time. But I found that window of that 10 minutes is maybe extended to about an hour. But everything else, I don't think I've got any leaner. I haven't been too clean on the food though. I've been having a bit of chocolate with a cup of tea, to be honest. But I think what I'll do is for the month of July, I think I'll like to do things for like 30 days and then give my opinion on it. So I'll do another month with no sugar and intermittent fasting and then see how I get on. And then I'll go from there. The only problem is I take quite a lot of supplements. Well, not quite a lot, but I can't take them unless I'm eating. And what I'm finding is because I'm eating later, I'm forgetting to take the supplements because I usually take them in the morning, like a B complex. I take a potassium because I have a low potassium level. I take alpha. What's it? Alpha. It's like Alpha Brain, but it's Alpha GPX or something like that. It's just a different one. Edo put me onto it. It's like a kind of smart drug, not a drug, but like it's meant to make you smarter. Obviously, it doesn't work. Where else is new? I bought some fins, small fins like for your feet for swimming. Little ones, about the length of the little mini beer bottle. It's not like the big fins. And I swam at least 600 meters today without stopping in the sea. Now, afterwards, even though it's 35 degrees out, I lay on the beach shivering, had a hot shower, and then afterwards, and my hands were cold for 2 hours. I have a problem with cold water. But it was great because I experienced what it was like to fatigue after about 400 meters where my arms were gone. And normally in when I'm out of my depth, I get this fear of, even though it might be 10 meters pedal in, I get this fear of drowning and this fear of kind of losing control. It's not even drowning. I don't care for death. It's just the lack of control. And I find a lot of my things that would have made me anxious have disappeared. I know with the fins, it's just given me that little bit more of a cushion or a what's the word? Safety net. Whereas I found when I got tired, I just lay on my back and just kicked, and I was relaxed the whole time. I didn't feel anything. It felt great. And also when I'm only breathing on one side, and I'm trying to get sideways in the water each time, it makes you go through the water that little bit quicker, instead of staying flat and just move my arms. So as I go, I just turn. So that's what I'm doing. And this week is my birthday, but my birthday is on a full moon, which is good. I'm not a birthday person. I don't celebrate my birthday. I tend to just fuck off and go quiet for a couple of hours, but it's a full moon, so I might go up to the Buddhist temple for a bit of stillness and reflection. But I'm going to swim to Camilla Beach, maybe in the morning, because I felt like today I had it. And I didn't feel any fear today. Whereas normally I get a little bit tense, or, you put it on a pedestal, you put it up. You set yourself up before you start, so you set yourself up. It's like lifting, you set yourself up like, God, there's too much weight on the bar, I ain't going to be able to lift it, or you just go on and lift the fucking bar, or as soon as you get in the water, it's like, oh, the water's going to be cold, it's going to take me a while to get in, or you just walk in and dive in. And same with the swimming the length or the long ways in the sea. It's dealing with being tired when you're out of your depth and you've still got like 200 meters to go, and it's going to take you 5 minutes or 4 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever the fuck it is. Time is kind of weird. It's like sometimes it stops, sometimes it goes fast. But I'm going to swim Camilla. I think I'm going to swim to Camilla and then in my Speedos walk back because I don't give a shit. What do you think of the braces anyway? Is it too much, is it? Is it too much? Fuck it. I've ordered my bike, my Gerard, and I'm looking at riding from Lisbon to here in the next week or two. I think it's like 2 or 3 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the road bike. I was waiting on a gravel bike, but it hasn't come about yet. So I'm going to get a saddlebag. I'm going to get a handlebar bag, and I'm just going to bring a sleeping bag, a basher or a small tent, the camera, and ride the 2 days. No phone. I'm not bringing a phone with me. I'll bring a burner. I'm going to bring just like a fucking, bring a cell phone. But I just want to fuck off. So, I think we just got to the stage now in life where it's, people think there's something wrong with you if you just fuck off, or, are you okay? I actually, when I kind of delete me Facebook and Instagram, and it's only 2 people noticed. That was Andy Ryan. Andy Ryan sent me a message. Everything all right? Good old Andy. He's always asked me, is everything all right? Not always, but he reaches out to you, and I think a lot of people don't. I'm all right. Actually, I'm great. I'm fantastic. But for some people, that might be a sign that there's something up with you. Like, I come from an era of, being a kid and getting on a plane, going to Africa when there was no mobile phones and there was no internet, and getting a letter every 4 weeks. and figuring it out. So for me, not to have Facebook or Instagram, and under the spotlight of fictional characters judging another fictional character, good or bad, I take it or leave it. And at the moment, I'm just going to leave it. And the same with the bike ride. I just want to ride the bike. It's only a couple of days. And if the bike breaks or if something goes wrong, it's very easy to get help now. It's very easy and I don't need fucking help. I can figure it out myself. I'll be self-supportive, and then just ride down. And then once I can make that, because it's okay when say you ride 100 kilometres and then you get into a nice warm bed and you've got a nice place to cook your food and you can chill out and relax. But when you're at the side of the road where you've never been before and I'm not used to sleeping out homeless. I'm wondering what that's like. And obviously you're going to wake up a lot earlier. So it's a different kettle. It's not just the bike ride of doing, say, 120 or 150k. It's the 24 hours of finding somewhere to wash, somewhere to go to the toilet, somewhere to clean your teeth, somewhere to eat, somewhere to camp. All those things that goes with it. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So I think that's the scramble on today. I think I just waffled, didn't I? I think I did, yeah. I think I did. The lifting's coming on. It's getting there. I figured something out, which was the rotation of the elbows. And that makes a difference. So, like all these things, tell me 1,000 times and then I get it and then I got it. And then you'll say, that's what I was telling you the whole time. But you just don't see it, I was telling you the whole time, but you just didn't listen to me. I know. All right, so that's it until the next one. I might be 15 in the book and then I can have a bit more of an interesting conversation. So that is all.
Only silence remains. Because
Hare Krishna.
I have to listen to him.
We are all one. Namaste.
I have to listen to the silence.
#Rafter.
I have to experience him.
Rafter.